We have heard accounts of UFOs from airline pilots, Air Force flyers, and we have seen still photos and film sequences. These were analysed by scientists. We've had much confirmed by the same flyers, both civil and military, particularly from Belgium and the former Soviet Union. From many angles and the weight of evidence, we can say that UFOs exist, and they may be guided by an unknown intelligence. The evidence also suggests an extraterrestrial origin. This is the official line, even in documents from the US government, significantly written in 1947, after the Roswell incident, but before the formation of the Majestic 12 project. Other documents, especially from the FBI, indicate that the USA is almost certainly in possession of a downed flying saucer of some description. The bodies, and of its occupants, alien or otherwise. This latter part in particular is open to speculation. Has contact been made? If it has, then it has been designated most secret, the most elaborate and extended cover-up in history, a truly cosmic Watergate. To try and establish the truth, or as near as we can get to it, we have collected statements from people who claim to have met aliens. These are disconcerting and for the most part unprovable. There are thousands of statements, and many coincide in detail.
In July 1968, a Mr. Walter Rizzi's car broke down in the Dolomite Mountains in Italy, and he recalls it as if it were yesterday.
I was walking for help, and suddenly I walked into a wall of fog, and at about 300 meters there was a huge UFO. I continued walking, and at about 40 to 50 meters to the right of the UFO, there seemed to be an enormous robot figure. It had 3 legs with 4 arms, and it seemed to be working outside of the object. I was befuddled. The light was incredibly intense, and it hurt my eyes. It had a kind of halo of orange-violet light, which reached about half a meter beyond the skin. The light didn't spread further than this halo, and where I stood was still dark.
Dal centro dell'UFO si apre una luce arancione, a metà di questa luce nel centro c'era come una luce viola, e è acceso un essere.
I saw a figure with a glass helmet on. The eyes were like a cat's eyes, emerald green and white. His nose was also cat-like. It had a finely drawn mouth. The skin was olive-coloured and flawless. His head suggested rubber and was completely unwrinkled. He came towards me. Telepathically, he asked me where I came from.
Un verde chiaro, oliva chiaro, chiaro, chiaro. E quando muoveva la testa così, era come se fosse di gomma, non faceva rughe, niente.
Then he told me about them. He said they came from another galaxy, very, very far away. They were from another planet, which had at some point suffered from some kind of disaster. It was 10 times bigger than Earth, and it had 2 suns, a large sun and a smaller partner, a so-called binary star.
E dal pianeta dove loro vengono è un pianeta, mi ha detto, che è 10 volte il nostro pianeta come grandezza. Ci sono 2 soli, un sole grande e un sole piccolo. E mi dice che quell'UFO dove sono loro è un trasporto, per quello è così grande, perché loro portano giro.
Their UFO was a transport ship, and they were collecting samples of animal life from our planet, some of which they put there in the first place. Their planet was similar to Earth and had plants and grass, but they needed animals.
Come a suo tempo mi ha detto, altri extraterrestri della vostra galassia hanno impiantato.
He went on to say that our planet suffered from some kind of imbalance, and that at some point in the future there would be an incredible disaster. A crack would appear in the crust of the Earth and in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and that would be the end.
Il pianeta non è bilanciato e nel prossimo futuro succederà un disastro sul vostro pianeta. E il disastro, probabilmente, mi ha detto, sarà da una crepa che è nell'Atlantico, alla quale viene sempre fuori del magma.
Ha parlato anche di Dio.
Quando gli ho fatto quella domanda,
He also spoke about God.
è rimasto stupefatto.
When I asked questions, he looked at me as if I was a fool. When he looked at me, I felt undressed. I felt an inner happiness when he spoke, which I can't describe. I felt at one with everything. God was in me. God was in the air. God was in the air we breathe. God was in the words I spoke.
Tu sei Dio. L'aria che respiri è Dio. La terra dove pesti è Dio. I sassi, le piante, tutto quello che ti sconda è Dio.
When I understood he was about to leave, I became desperate and looked wildly around at the forest. I spoke out loud and begged him not to leave. I sobbed, "Don't leave me, don't leave me." He replied he had to go and couldn't leave me anything at all. It would harm me. I sank to one knee and I sobbed like a child. I pleaded with him. I was inconsolable.
This was a very deep and moving experience. Even after so many years, the feelings are still fresh and vivid for Mr. Rizzi. All of the conversation had happened by telepathy. For a year after the encounter, Mr. Rizzi suffered from a skin problem and a neurovegetative disorder. His hair fell out, a common event among those who have had such a close encounter. These are the symptoms of radiation sickness.
Moving on to Mexico, we go to Tepozin, a small village some 3 hours from Mexico City. Here we meet the colourful Carlos Diaz. "15 years ago, a sequence of events changed Carlos' life forever. Several times he saw some enormous red objects and made contact with their occupants. These encounters have carried on ever since. The red lights seen by Carlos have been seen by the inhabitants of the area in the mountains around Tepozin, especially around a mountain called Cerro de la Luz. Translated, its name means Peak of Light. Even today, there are locals who claim to have made sightings. But Carlos has said he has made contact. I had seen the light descend a number of times. I had seen it about the height of the mountain, Cerro de la Luz. Then it came down onto the football pitch. I was hoping that something would happen and that I might meet someone from the craft. I felt a peculiar sensation in my chest, a feeling like when you're in love. Then an object suddenly appeared.
Teniendo esa sensación tan especial como cuando está uno profundamente enamorado, de momento el objeto ¡pac!, se presenta. Son objetos de luz. La cuestión es
They were objects made up of light, light which shone from the center, but strangely, all the light was contained within the object.
Es como si algo mantuviera esa luz encerrada en el
I saw a metallic object, but even that became bathed in light. The thing that surprises me a lot is that the parts moved from the solid state into light and then back again. I saw it as a luminous little cloud, clearly defined, with millions and millions of luminous points. It was a spectacular sight.
Luz es como si fuera una neblina, ¿sí? Una neblina luminosa, perfectamente limitada, en donde millones y millones de puntos de luz, de energía, entran y salen, entran y salen. Es un espectáculo verdaderamente bellísimo.
Carlos even entered the UFO.
El poder entrar a la nave es verdaderamente una experiencia imborrable. Lo que puede uno ver dentro de la nave es únicamente luz, luz, luz amarilla. Lo que fue para mí algo muy, muy emocionante fue en el momento
Entering the object really was something. There was nothing to see except light. The most frightening thing for me was when I tried to touch my head. I noticed that my hand went right through my head before I realized I was making a gesture. It meant that even my body had transformed into light. I could see creatures, beings of form that they had taken on to come amongst us. They looked like us. They changed like this to be able to understand us. They're studying us.
He tenido la oportunidad de ver a estos seres. Conozco la forma que ellos han adquirido. Sé que han provocado cambios en su información genética para parecerse lo más posible al ser humano y poderse mover libremente entre nosotros. y así poder entender el por qué hacemos las cosas. Y le dije, oye, ¿de qué lugar vienen ustedes del universo?
I asked one, "Where do you come from?"
Detuvo su caminar.
He was walking in front of me. He stopped and gave me a pat on the back and said to me, "Carlos, I could tell you which star and which constellation we come from, but what counts is that we're here. The reason they come to Earth is the reason we travel, to see this marvelous universe. Earth is like an oasis. We should never attack these beings in case we never find out where they come from. Me, I'm not a chosen one, not a messenger, not a prophet. They respected me, and in return I respect them, and all that they've told me.
El planeta Tierra es verdaderamente un oasis en el espacio. No tenemos otro planeta al que podamos ir si le damos verdaderamente una puñalada que mate. No soy ningún elegido, no soy ningún mensajero, no soy ningún iluminado. Ellos me han respetado totalmente en mi integridad humana. Es por esa razón que también yo tengo que respetar muchas de las cosas que ellos me han mostrado, que ellos me han enseñado.
Carlos says that the visitors are preoccupied with the ecological state of the planet and the changes brought about by our nuclear activity. Many species become extinct every year. They limit themselves to observing, and they can't intervene directly. They respect our free will. The photos and videos of Carlos have been analysed by Professor Quesada, a lecturer in information science at Seoul University, Mexico City.
We've been studying the case of Carlos Diaz for 3 years. At this point, we have no reason to doubt his story. Teachers and students have analyzed his photos and videos. He hasn't hoaxed us with models or such. We found numerous other witnesses to the phenomenon in the village of Tepezian. Witnesses of differing backgrounds and social standing. Outside of the UFO phenomenon. This is all we can do at the moment. For me, there are no elements of doubt.
Testimonio muy grande de personas del pueblo, de ese lugar, que afirman que lo que presenta el señor Carlos Díaz se da en ese lugar. Y son personas completamente de diferentes estatus sociales y muchas de ellas completamente alejadas de lo que es el fenómeno ovni. Como universidad, no he concluido la investigación, pero hasta el momento no tengo elementos para desacreditar.
These are photos of UFOs taken in the Zurich area by Edward Mayer, better known as Billy Mayer, well known for his alien contacts. As you can see, these objects are similar to those filmed in North and South America. The adventures of Billy Mayer started in 1975, when an impulse took him to walk among the hills. He sighted and filmed a UFO. He later claims to have made contact with the ship, aliens from which told him they had come from Pleiades, some 500 light-years from Earth. Dr. Musbrugger is his spokesman. Mayer himself has remained in seclusion for years.
Die benutzen nicht den normalen Raum, sondern einen sogenannten Hyperraum.
They don't use normal space.
Und in diesem Hyperraum
they move around in a so-called hyperspace. They reach us in speeds of excess of light speed. When in this dimension, the whole vessel and its occupants transform into an energy outside of time and space. Because of this, they can move about from one place to another in a second, and they can be where they want in a flash.
Und wenn sie da drin sind, dann wird auch zugleich das gesamte Schiff mit sämtlichen Insassen in Energie zerlegt. Und dieses Energiepaket wird in Nullzeit, kann man ruhig sagen, von einem Ort zum anderen transportiert und sie sind im nächsten Augenblick schon am Ziel, wo sie sein wollen.
As you will recall, this tallies with Carlos Diaz's description of the ship and crew as light. Even the Pleiadians were said to be concerned by the ecology of the planet and the use of atomic weapons which could destroy us and affect elsewhere in the universe. The Pleiadians are similar to us, according to the photos taken by Billy Mayer, and he claims they've visited us for thousands of years. He also claims that they've tried to speak to terrestrial governments, so far without success. At their request, he wrote to various embassies, which got him into a lot of bother. Billy Mayer says that they've transmitted teachings to him to develop conscience and responsibility. The Pleiadians teach us things that reflect ancient truths. In my opinion, they're authentic, the real laws of creation. We're instructed into a better way of life.
Wohlgemerkt die echten schöpferischen Gesetze und Gebote, und das sind Direktiven für eine richtige Lebensführung.
Billy Mayer is an extremely controversial character. After the first experience of contact in 1975, he set up a group for those interested in the phenomenon. This group was attacked and sneered at, and withdrew from the outside world. To the outside world, it appears as a sect, but it has never sought disciples, and no coercion is said to be involved. Many have accused Mayer of perpetrating a hoax. Some materials such as these are certainly fake.
Nach meiner Ansicht gibt es überhaupt keine Fälschungen, weil es idiotisch wäre, einmal echte Bilder und dann das.
I don't think any falsification exists. It'd be stupid to show authentic photos first of all, then throw in a couple of fakes. Why should we want to do it? The Pleiadians have told us that some photographs from Billy Mayer have been doctored by someone to destroy his reputation. To destroy him. This is true. Yes, it's true.
Das stimmt. Das stimmt.
Part of Billy Mayer's material has been analysed over the last few years using the most advanced technology. The selection of items analysed was said to be genuine. Wendell Stevens, an American researcher, has examined the photos from the spot where they were originally taken. They lend themselves to this particular kind of verification, as all the photos have detailed panoramas and landscapes in the background.
When we went from scene to scene, I could see that it would be impossible for anybody to have used a model to create the scene. And here's a man with only one arm, and he's got a broken camera that he can't look through because the viewfinder was one side of the lens and it had been dropped in the mirror and the viewfinder was laying down. He couldn't look through it at all. He couldn't adjust the focus. He didn't know, at that time, he didn't know much about photography. He never changed his light settings from f11.
The traces left by the UFO have been studied by universities, and they have given similar results to those we've seen elsewhere. Mayer claims the Pleiadians have given him pieces of metal, and analysis shows them to be an unknown alloy, possibly even made with cold fusion technique. Technique still unperfected here. Research on the soundtrack of the film has yet to reveal the hoax. The sounds are electromagnetic in origin, fluctuating through many frequencies. These are stunning images. Look at the tops of the trees moving across the image of the UFO. And here you can see a Swiss Army Mirage jet observing the object. This sighting has never been confirmed by the Swiss authorities. Analysis has yet to confirm these photos as anything but genuine. The Mirage has its own sign and is generating heat. This part of the film is not a superimposition.
Giorgio Di Bitonto comes from northern Italy and recounts how in the middle of the 1970s he reckons to have had a series of meetings with high-ranking aliens. As well as these meetings with aliens, he claims to have met beings from another dimension. Dibitonto and his female companion were called by an inner voice in a clearing where they witnessed the descent of a beam of strong white light. On the field, they landed a cigar-shaped ship with other discs flying overhead. This theme of intense light runs through all the stories.
Questo disco praticamente al momento in cui noi ci siamo avvicinati.
As we drew nearer the ship, it emitted a wonderful light. As soon as we entered the beam of light, everything changed. Everything transformed. We remained essentially ourselves, but we were transported somewhere else. I don't know how to explain it. I felt a sense of lightness. We went beyond the physical shell of the body. We felt the ability to thought read. We felt as if we could be in more than one place at once. It's very difficult to explain. The interior was filled with light, and this light had the ability to transport us elsewhere.
Dibitonto in this account has shifted to another level of reality. He claims to have been totally conscious, not dreaming and not hallucinating.
In our world, there are trees, rivers, the sun, clouds, all physical things. Everything is separate, and the beauty is from this, the vegetation, the sky. However, in that realm, it was light, it was energy, the reality of light. In that world, I'm part of you, and you're part of me.
Faceva parte di te e tu facevi parte di lei maggiormente.
Dibitonto tells us he was shown things on a kind of screen. What he saw were the dangers surrounding our planet and its future. The planet is being strangled to death with pollution. The survival of life on Earth is threatened. Its destiny is in our hands.
L'uomo della Terra deve veramente cambiare tante cose. Altrimenti non è che
we on Earth need to change so many things. If not, it won't be an apocalypse or anger of the gods, but man who both builds and destroys, and will destroy. I'm putting across a positive message, but I've been shown many negative images, negative scenes where man destroys and damages our world.
Da alcuni che vogliono portare determinate esperienze negative all'eccesso, una casa bella come questo mondo.
Our shared environment, what kind of principles should guide us?
È l'amore. E come qualità dell'amore c'è stata indicata la bontà.
Love. In any state of love you need happiness, and you must overcome the self-centeredness natural to people. I mustn't allow myself to put myself first, to enjoy myself at your expense. We aim for universal harmony.
Una cosa che viene a mio vantaggio ma nettamente a tuo svantaggio. Quindi questa ottica aperta ci porta oltre questo limite e ci porta in un'armonia universale, in una finalità universale dove tutto va a concorrere al fine che è buono.
This is a vision in the great spiritual tradition. How does this all hang together in terms of how are they intended to relate to the different levels of spirituality? How is vital energy shown?
A noi fu spiegato che l'energia tridimensionale.
I have explained that the three-dimensional energy forms a physical world. There are other dimensions that they call cosmic astral energy, not solid, but not yet spiritual. There's something in between. They can say that this kind of matter exists in 30 forms. We might have 3 dimensions, but they have more dimensions of a higher and more spiritual nature. The more you go into these levels of worlds, the further you are away from our material world, and the more insubstantial the energy. You carry on like this until you reach the ideal. There, all the forms or energies unite into one. More choices exist, if you can call them into being.
finché si arriva a quella barriera ideale che loro hanno chiamato la barriera celeste, oltre la quale ci sono tutte le forme e non ce n'è nessuna. Cioè lì le forme vengono create se vogliono essere create, perché c'è la totale libertà dell'espressione dell'essere.
Dibitonto says that he's seen some manifestations of the Supreme Spirit at this higher level, but where there is still substance.
Una era Gesù ed una era...
I experienced all of this. One of the people I saw was Jesus, and the other, the Virgin Mary. There were also Eastern Magi, Muslims, Buddhists, you name it.
Islamica o induista o buddista, e quindi c'erano anche queste persone.
The claims of Dibitonto remind of the many mystics claiming to have been carried in the heavens in chariots of fire or spheres of light. The talk of numerous dimensions has echoes in some religious traditions. Dibitonto does not consider himself a messenger, nor does he have disciples. In the context of UFOs, this mystic element sometimes seems surprising. This close encounter with beings made of light suggests angels, and the encounter with the aliens described suggests gods. This is a problem of the way language works, and not necessarily a sign that the witness is weird. Here we meet Giorgio Bongiovanni, who has married mysticism with the study of UFOs. He's a follower of Siragusa, a famous Sicilian contactee. Bongiovanni's is most strange because it is such a strong experience.
I had a vision in front of an image of Mary. Out of the Madonna, shape emerged. It was a luminous globule, sort of bell-shaped. Like a crystal bell, rather like the classic UFO shape that you see has been filmed or photographed, but not exactly the same.
After this vision, an inner voice told him to go to Fatima, where in 1917 children had a vision of the Madonna. They claimed on that occasion that a very bright beam light had shone in the sky next to the sun. They were soaked by the rain, and the beam dried them. Bongiovanni then went to Fatima in the hope of a sign.
There was an oak tree, and I saw a light appear in the image of the Madonna, and it gave me a long message. I saw two rays come from her chest, and they hit me on the palm of my hand. Then I was like this. I saw the rays. I felt them hit me. It was so strong that I thought I'd die with the pain.
Qui, nel palmo delle mani, perché io stavo così. Allora, quando ho visto, io vedevo il raggio, la gente non vedeva niente. Ho visto colpire nel palmo delle mani, io mi sono sentito morire dal dolore.
These marks are called stigmata, and he has received the stigmata on his hands, feet, chest and forehead. The mysterious phenomenon has lasted for years and has been studied by several doctors. The blood, which comes out the wounds, is alleged to have peculiar properties. They bleed copiously every day.
Io non devo rivelare niente, devo solo testimoniare quanto la Vergine Maria disse a Fatima nel 1917, siccome quel messaggio è di estrema attualità.
This is a shocking and genuine phenomenon.
Cose, la conversione al suo cuore immacolato, la conversione a Cristo, l'invito agli uomini a cambiare, l'invito alla Chiesa a cambiare. E parla anche di una cosa veramente straordinaria, del ritorno di Gesù sulla terra. Una seconda cosa mi chiese, di parlare di una rivelazione, e cioè che non siamo soli nell'universo. Adesso devo preparare l'umanità a questo incontro, perché ci sarà tra intelligenze che vengono dagli spazi esterni con l'intelligenza umana di questo pianeta. E ci sarà
Bongiovanni is convinced this is an alien intervention.
Gli extraterrestri sono esseri che sono stati creati dalla stessa intelligenza, dallo stesso Dio che ha creato noi. Soltanto che queste civiltà sono state molto lungimiranti, molto intelligenti ad accettare la visita e a riconoscere la visita di coloro che li ha creati. Quindi il rapporto tra esseri extraterrestri e Gesù Cristo, diciamo che sono degli uomini come noi, più evoluti di noi, che hanno accettato la redenzione. E quindi questo gli ha provocato un balzo evolutivo nella loro civiltà da farli rendere coscienti, da fare realizzare.
He's convinced these aliens are intelligent and sympathetic.
Tre volte li ho visti fisicamente. Erano questi esseri di luce che sono molto molto vicini a Gesù. Molto.
This witness holds conferences in Italy, the USA, Russia, South America and Africa. A group has been formed by his followers.
Gli UFO col messaggio di Fatima. Sì, il messaggio di Fatima tu lo vivi, sappiamo tutti cosa fa.
Bongiovanni believes it is his duty to spread this message to others,
con la propria idea,
irrespective of their religion, race or belief.
Col proprio modo di vedere le cose.
The aliens met by witnesses up to now have been described as decent, respectable, preoccupied with our future. There is no common description though, and either some of the witnesses are mistaken or they come from different worlds.
But some testimonies show us more terrifying episodes, like the famous case of Travis Walton in 1974. He was an American lumberjack who alleged a UFO kidnap in front of his workmates. The incident was shown in the feature film Glows in the Dark. He was in a truck and saw a light. He got out and he went towards the object, and a light engulfed him.
I don't know how long I believed that I was in a hospital. But when I finally got where I could focus my eyes, I saw these creatures standing over me. And I just flipped out. I just became hysterical, fought them off. And I was pretty hysterical for the entire time. I was put on a table, and a mask was put over my face. And I tried to fight against them at that point, but I blacked out. They were humanoid in the sense that they had 2 arms and 2 legs and like that, but they were definitely not human. They had no hair on their heads. They were small, sort of a pale, whitish gray skin, very large eyes. It was just very frightening the way they looked at me. And the next thing I knew, I found myself lying face down outside in the cold. And I looked up. There was a light above me, and I looked up to see where the light was coming from. And it went off just as I looked. So I don't know whether there was a hatch closing, a door closing on this craft, or if a light was turned off or something. But I saw the craft just for an instant before it shot straight up into the sky and was gone.
At last, Travis Walton found himself in the woods. He had 5 days' growth of beard. His companions had been arrested for suspected homicide and had been forced to take a lie detector test. Even Walton was made to take the polygraph test.
Well, you know, I say in hindsight, maybe they weren't so bad, but nevertheless, if I were to be in the same situation again, I think I would stay in the truck with the other men.
In the Piedmont countryside, Maurizio Cavallo, a very respectable person, was the alleged victim in 1981 of several kidnappings. On a night when he was with his friends, he spotted a burning light in the sky. From that moment on, inner voices started to talk to him, and he went to the place where he saw the object.
Suddenly again, I saw a huge descending ball of light. I was picked up by an object with very strange lights, which shone very brightly. The experience transformed into a nightmare. I was a prisoner of something. I know I was awake and not dreaming. It was real, but a different mad, horrible reality.
So di essere sveglio, so di essere nella mia realtà, eppure una realtà diversa, una realtà.
I sensed an inner voice, commanding, but at the same time calming. A sort of metallic feel to it.
Dentro di me a farsi udire una voce, un suono imperioso, ma nello stesso tempo calmo, quasi metallico, con delle inflessioni metalliche.
This voice, this sound, told me to be calm.
Vidi quest'essere simili a noi, esseri umani di questo pianeta.
I saw a humanoid. He was dressed in a sort of overall, perhaps a spacesuit. What struck me most were the eyes, oriental in cast.
Immobili, occhi profondi con un taglio orientale.
For a long time, Cavallo thought he was going mad. He lost his family and his job. He claims to have been transported to other worlds, which he has painted since then. He visited underground bases of the aliens. He says the origin of our species was explained to him, and this was due to the genetic intervention of aliens. Cavallo won't talk about it willingly, and he has no messages. These are photos taken by Cavallo of UFOs and their pilots. The experience has transformed him. He paints and composes music. Much of the music used in this program was composed by him.
Despite the trauma of the experience and the infinite suffering, I now feel a free man. In the USA for years there have been meetings organised by psychologists specialising in those who have been contacted or abducted. The aim is to help them to overcome their trauma. Many elements of their experiences coincide, which give them more credibility. The psychologist R. Leo Sprinkle is involved in the project. He is one of the foremost researchers on the subject.
My own personal view of the majority of persons is that the majority of persons are normal in their psychological functioning. That is, they are not psychotic, they are not neurotic, they are intelligent and educated, and they are, as a group, they are sincere in describing what they believe has happened.
Even the psychologist, Richard Boylan, a well-known researcher on the subject, has followed contacts for several years. This is how he sees it.
Worked with over 165 people who've had these extraterrestrial encounters. I'm understanding of their feelings and can bring them to understand what they've been through is not some strange thing that only happened to them, but that it's happened to thousands of other people as well.
In recent years, abductions by small humanoids with a big head has been much discussed. These are identified by the grey colour of their skin. There have been many incidents in the USA, but also in Europe and elsewhere. Bud Hopkins is one of the most leading researchers on the subject. He has followed many hundreds of cases all over the world. He helped those kidnapped to overcome their trauma through hypnosis, even if the victims can consciously remember the events anyway. Often the abductions happen at night. The grey beings can go through walls, materializing and not materializing. They communicate telepathically. It is said that the grey people can take the person to the spaceship through a tunnel of light. The kidnapped person is then subjected to a medical examination, with several samples taken. Sperm is almost always taken from men, and ovum from women. These abductees often have scars on the body of a victim, like these 10-year-old ones. The victim discovered how these were done after an abduction experience, which he can only remember under hypnosis, and which was confirmed by witnesses. Let's respect his desire for privacy. Bud Hopkins shows numerous examples of wounds.
Next slide.
In some of these, small objects were discovered.
Next slide, please.
They were said to be planted during the kidnapping. They've been studied in university laboratories.
The basic purpose of this seems to have to do with the need of the aliens to remove human ova and sperm or cells, to take our DNA, our genetic makeup, and to mix it with their own, as if what they're trying to do is to create a hybrid mix. The woman might be reabducted months or even years later and shown a tiny baby, which is a strange mix of human and alien characteristics, and they are told in the UFO that this is your child, and they are asked to bond with the child, to hold it. In other words, their connection with us, particularly on an emotional level, is very slight. It's as if they don't understand human emotions. And just as they have been trying to learn about human reproduction, I think they're trying to learn about human emotion. I think they're very interested in simple things to us, like how we care for our children, how we care for one another, how romantic relationships begin. All the things that make us most human, they seem very interested in that because it seems that they don't have that themselves. They seem to have their own needs, their own projects, their own agenda. And it does not seem to have anything to do with the good of mankind. At the same time, human beings have a whole group of fears, paranoid fears of enemies or devils or whatnot, demons. There's no sense that they have ever deliberately wanted to harm anybody or tried to harm anybody. This is what makes the whole phenomenon so finely puzzling. It doesn't fit human fears or human desires or hopes. That makes me believe that they are a completely external element in the universe, which has its own needs, its own patterns of behavior. They are doing terrible things to humans only by accident. In other words, the trauma that happens and the physical problems, I don't think are intended, but they do occur.
But is this proof? Besides marks on the body, what is real?
I collect, for instance, drawings that people make of certain symbols that they've seen inside the craft, certain like writing, never been published. I have about 35 examples that are virtually identical. And I have had now 3 times when someone has made a drawing for me of symbols, of writing. You have no idea what it means. But they've seen writing inside a craft. When they were finished making the drawing, I have shown them other samples of other people's identical to theirs. And in all 3 cases, the people have burst into tears because it was too upsetting to have that confirmation. They didn't want it to be true either.
Your total self. To let in
Certainly these things are so upsetting, in spite of the proof offered by Hopkins. It's better to deny them. Professor John Mack, lecturer in psychology at Harvard, was involved in the case of Hopkins. In the beginning, Mack was skeptical, but later studied 50 other cases.
The experiences of the abductees are entirely real. I have no reason to believe or to conclude that anything different than what they report has occurred. My field is psychiatry. I did not write a word on this subject until I had spent 2 years working with over 50 people, spent hundreds of hours, and concluded that they were telling the truth, that these were real experiences, that what had occurred to them in some cases was deeply disturbing, in some cases was quite enlightening for them.
There are in fact many cases in which after taking of the organic sample, an important human-like alien showed the kidnapped victims the danger which faced humanity. In many witnesses, it has provoked an internal transformation.
By demonstrating that we are in connection or in relationship to some other intelligence, the source of which we do not know, but which reaches us with a certain vigor, reaches apparently hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. This invites us to open up to the universe, to a far more interesting, more alive, more expanded sense of ourselves and the universe in which we live. And if the work can open us to that possibility. I think that's the most important aspect of it.
Prayer, as far as all concerned,
In this section, we will discuss another phenomenon, that of animal mutilation, studied by Linda Howe in many countries.
I also have had my hands on a camera.
She points out that it is a widespread phenomenon, even if it is rarely discussed. There are thousands of cases of domestic and wild animals found in inaccessible areas whose organs have been removed, especially the reproductive ones. These are not ripped out, they are removed in a highly sophisticated way. Many cases in the USA have been certified by the authorities.
The hallmark of why this was considered so strange right from the beginning in the 60s when it was first reported. No blood at the excisions, no blood on the ground, and no tracks around an animal, not even its own.
Often a beam of light was seen radiating down from the sky.
And in my files now, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases around the world. And I have eyewitness accounts in broad daylight where people have seen what they say are non-human creatures carrying a calf or moving a cow from a pasture into some kind of a object that's not identified, and then later finding that animal in the pasture mutilated, or the animal simply disappears from the farm altogether. And some of the most, probably the strongest eyewitness testimony have half a dozen cases in the United States where people have seen a beam of light come down of an object in the night sky, come down around an animal. The animal rises in the beam of light. Then, some cases, the animal drops to the ground and it's mutilated. In a couple of cases, they've seen the animal lowered to the ground in the light and it's mutilated.
We started this program saying that there were official reports on the existence of alien UFOs, but nothing about on who pilots them. We've heard numerous accounts from witnesses say that they've made contact with aliens, highly developed beings, respectful of our independence and concerned for our future. These numerous accounts are the true Watergate, the real cover-up. Official documents reveal UFOs present, but no one has yet revealed why the sightings have no official correlation in close encounters. A number of the encounters are expressed as mystical experiences. This may be the language we feel necessary to communicate such intense feelings in, when they're good ones. But there are also worrying cases of human abduction, experimentation, and animals maiming. Our visitors seem to have many aims and many guises. But is this a new phenomenon? According to many researchers, we have been visited by UFOs for thousands of years.